Hello everyone, my name is Shruti. I'm a practicing company secretary. Today, I'd like to talk about a circular which is released by Ministry of Corporate Affairs yesterday, that is 30th March 2020. This circular relates to a scheme which is introduced by the central government called Companies Fresh Start Scheme 2020. So what's the idea behind this scheme? There are so many companies which have missed or delayed filing a lot of forms relating to various transactional matters, their annual returns, the financial statements and the like. So MCA is creating an opportunity for these companies to make good these defaults and delays. MCA is facilitating these companies to make a fresh start and stop pondering over these delays and use the time and effort in a better way. So what's the beauty about this scheme? There is absolutely no additional fees for filing these forms, which is a delay for so many years. So the filing fees will be normal filing fees as envisaged under section 403 of the Companies Act 2013 and read with Companies Registration Offices and Fees Rules 2014. So the ROC will pass its order and grant an immunity from launching any prosecution or proceedings for imposing penalty. So what's the salient features of this particular scheme? This scheme is operational from tomorrow, that is 1st April 2020, and it is open for next 6 months up to 30th September 2020. Like I said, the filing fees will be normal, no additional fees will be charged. And for all the companies which have defaulted and delayed, it is advised to make use of this particular scheme and make good the defaults. All the forms are covered under this particular scheme except two conditions. One, authorized share capital increase SH7 and charge related forms which are CHG 1, 4, 8 and 9. So the companies which have applied for gone for an appeal, which have filed an appeal against any order or notice cannot utilize this particular scheme until they withdraw this scheme and give a proof saying this particular appeal is withdrawn. Until then, they cannot utilize this scheme. Once all the forms are filed and the defaults are made good, the company will have to file a form called CFSS 2020, which again will not have any filing fees. Once this is filed, the ROC will pass its order and grant immunity. And also the ROC, once the immunity is granted, the registrar of companies will deem this as the default being made good. The registrar of companies will also withdraw all the prosecutions and proceedings against the companies relating to the delay, and there will not be any further action taken against the company. The scheme also provides for an additional 120 days for certain cases. Like if a company has applied for, gone for an appeal relating to defaults and delays under section 454 subsection 5 to RD, and the last date for filing this particular appeal falls in between 1st March 2020 and 31st May 2020, they get a chance, they get an option to of 120 additional days from the last date when they were supposed to file the appeal to RD. And the scheme is not applicable in certain cases. There are 6 cases given in the circular for whom the scheme is not applicable. One, if there is any action initiated by the registrar of companies against the final notice for striking off a company under section 248. Number 2, if the company has filed on its own for strike off. Number 3, if the company is being amalgamated under the scheme of compromise or arrangement. Number 4, if it's vanishing company. Number 5, if the company has filed or applied for getting the status of dormant company under section 455. And the last case is increase in authorized share capital SH7 and the charge related forms. This scheme is applicable to inactive companies. There are two options given to inactive companies. One, they can file this eForm MSC1 to obtain the status of dormant company, whereby the company will remain in the register of companies and will, through a minimum requirements of the compliance, they will have to comply with the minimum requirements relating to the act. And there is another option given to file STK2 for strike off of the company, and both the cases normal filing fees will be applicable. And end of the scheme, if there is any company which is not utilized the scheme and not made the default good, the ROC can initiate any action for prosecuting the company. And I'd like to share 3 thoughts around this particular process from me. One, in case keeping all the delay of so many years, the DINs of the directors will be inactive. The directors will be disqualified. What's the status of what's the next course of action for this? The companies will ideally have to restore the DIN and then start the process of the under the scheme. And if in the process, in the meanwhile, the professionals can keep all the documents ready, and as soon as the DIN is restored, we can immediately start process under the scheme. Number 2, there are companies if have not filed INC 22A, the active compliance form. There are certain cases where it's not filed because of lot of compliances which are missed out. As simple as one example, if I can quote, appointing a whole-time company secretary on board of the company. If these compliances are missed out, the company wouldn't have filed INC 22A. So it's important to make good these defaults and then file the process under the process of the scheme. Number 3, this is particularly for closely held companies. Probably they can appoint new directors and remove the existing disqualified directors if the DIN restoration process is delayed, and then initiate the process of the under the scheme. So finally, I trust I've shared all the relevant information relating to the scheme for your benefit.